This podcast encourages and empowers you to create your own unique real story, develop your own unique real statement, and discover your own unique real self. The power is yours. Good night, Heather Dahl. How are you doing on this wonderful, beautiful night?
It is good. I'm looking forward to the start of spring as we end out the winter on this evening.
I can well imagine. What part of the world are you in right now?
I am in Washington, D.C.
Oh, yeah. I heard, last week had some storms, right? Oh.
Yes, major storms.
All right. So I'm hoping with you as well. I hope that you get that sun as quickly as possible.
Thank you.
Well, do tell me, which of your talents is responsible for us connecting at this specific time in history?
I think it's my talent of thinking and being an outsider who brings a different vision or way of seeing something to an organization.
Ooh, let's dig into that a bit more then. So we're talking about uniqueness, right? Who did you learn that from, to walk in your uniqueness?
I think I learned uniqueness from my grandmother.
Ooh.
Who always, no matter, I was a nerd from the very beginning, and I would obsess about, for one case, it was penguins, another case, it was bonsai trees, another case, and I would create science projects all the time, and the science fair was the biggest deal to me. And rather than saying, don't work on your science project day after day, she encouraged it. She let me have my friends come over so they could help me with my science project. She bought me all the supplies I would need for the science project. She would have my grandfather transport these elaborate science fair projects to school. And so she embraced it and felt that that was the way where I could find happiness. And she was right.
That's amazing. That's beautiful. It's a beautiful picture to see in my mind. What's your grandmother's name?
Nancy Davis.
All right. Indeed. All right. So what has that boiled into now in your life?
Where I came was through a journey of life. I went from working for elected officials to broadcast journalism and found my way working into cybersecurity. And one day I was talking with my nephew, who was 4 at the time, and he told me, are you ready for this? That there are no bad guys that live in your computer. And then he also informed me that you did not need to know how to read to get through life. So we had 2 issues here. 1, literacy, and 2, letting him know that bad guys do live in the computer and he needs to make smart decisions, especially since his aunt worked in cybersecurity and his aunt knows that the future of fighting dragons, which he loved to do, was limited. Not many career opportunities. And so I decided to write him a book to explain to him about the bad guys that live in our computers and tablets and iPhones, and also how you can develop an entire career in which you can go out and make some money and then maybe support your aunt in her old age. Wow. And so I brought an outsider's perspective because I think a lot of us in cybersecurity don't necessarily think about the visual world, the imaginary world, the creative side of what we do. Rather, we focus on the code or the UI, or we think about, policies and procedures. And so I was able to bring creativity to something that maybe isn't necessarily forward-leaning on the creative side, and develop a world, a story that captured the imagination of children.
That's amazing. Where can I get this book?
It's on Amazon and Apple iBooks and Kindle. It's called The Cynja, CYNJA, because being a ninja is pretty awesome, but being a cyber ninja, a Cynja, is spectacular.
Wow. You know what's super cool about that, though? Like the conversation I had before, the young woman's name of her podcast is called The Resiliency Ninja, which is super cool, yeah? Right before
Absolutely.
you. That's amazing. So you've gone into cybersecurity. You found a way to help your nephew read, as well as understand that there are some bad things that can happen in the online space, right? That is pretty fascinating. Why would you continue to repeat that skill of using that format of approaching what could be challenging?
So one of the challenges, the internet was really built where it doesn't have a layer for identity. And so as the result, in our digital lives, we basically are issued identities by different organizations in which we do business or which we receive services, and they basically control our identity online, and they also control and often sometimes sell the data. We know about data mining. We basically, as individuals, the human rights, the ability to own our identity, the ability to interact on a human level has gone missing in the internet. And so what I am doing today with the Sovrin Foundation is fixing that. And we call it self-sovereign identity, where we use blockchain technology to create identities in which the individual can manage how those identities are used, how they're presented to other organizations, and also have the ability to control the information that's contained within those identities and what they're willing to share, or more importantly, what they're willing not to share. And so once again, it's taking a look at the internet that we know it today, applying a human need that is missing in that internet and figuring out how we can use technology to reframe how we see something as simple as digital identity.
It's definitely a powerful time in the internet, and this is definitely needed. Blockchain technology, yeah?
Exactly. How do we bring humanity to the technology that we use today? And whether it's inspiring kids to make smart choices online, whether it is bringing the power of blockchain technology to enable digital identities that we can control and share as individuals, just like we do in the real world, it's always reimagining technology today from an outsider's perspective.
Now, Heather, you are the CEO and the executive director of this company, Sovrin. Just in case, amazing audience, you didn't catch that, right? Because she did mention Sovrin, but she is the CEO and, again, the executive director. Where's the best place for someone that's interested to connect with you?
Yes, go to Sovrin, S-O-V, V as in Victor, RIN.org. That's sovrin.org. We're a global nonprofit that administers the public utility for self-sovereign identity. We have over 70 stewards across the world who are supporting us in this project, and already we have millions of identities written to the network.
Love it. I'm jumping across there, right? I think my identity is important. I'm definitely going to jump across there and check that out. All right, Heather. Well, you know what? Let's switch gears for a moment. Now, let me invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water. Heather,
I like that.
What is your earliest childhood memory?
It's actually, I grew up as a child in young years in Southern California, in Temple City, California, and it was digging up rocks in a garden trying to find dinosaurs.
Ooh. How old do you think you were?
I was 3.5.
Why do you think this is so clear?
Because I distinctly remember it. I had a little bit of a fear of dinosaurs, so I think it was important to go out and figure out if they were nearby. But there was something about spending the time in the yard, in the garden with my grandfather and digging around. And I think that was the combination of curiosity, fear, and a place that made me happy is why that memory sticks in my mind. And there are other memories around it. When I ask my mom about it, she's like, you were 3.5. That's when you would go dig for dinosaurs in the driveway.
How do you see that memory connecting to who you are today?
It's that need to go out and figure things out. It's that curiosity that I want to go discover something. And so as a young child, it was as simple as trying to find dinosaurs, and I was kind of nervous about it, but I knew that there could be an answer there and maybe I would find them. And it's searching for answers. It probably led me down the road to becoming a journalist and asking for questions and keep digging until you uncover what it is that you're looking for. And it's probably the same trait that I have going through and transferring over to the tech space and knowing that there's something out there that I'm curious about and how can we find a better way.
Love it. Can I offer an interpretation to the thought picture you created in my
Yes.
mind? Oh, so
Yes.
here's what I love. So there's one thing in looking for something that could be there. There's another thing when you understand that it is important to ensure that the thing that it represents is what it is. And I connect it to the blockchain technology that you're not developing, but definitely
Yeah.
helping individuals find, right? So it's so important
Yes.
that the thing is what it is, which is my identity, my online identity, who
Yes.
I am, so that when other individuals come digging, they will find the truth, the thing that, or the person that I am, that I represent. I love that. Ooh,
I
I
love
love
it.
that.
Yes, I love that. I never connected digging for dinosaur rocks in blockchain, but you're absolutely right.
Yeah, it's like DNA,
And
isn't it?
even it's coming down to finding bits and pieces of rock and trying to put them all together
Yeah,
to
yeah.
create my dinosaur.
Yeah, I love it because years from today, that's what people are going to be digging for, right? It may not be physically, it might just be like clack, 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 and I search.
Yeah.
But definitely, I love that. All right, if we fast forward to when you were 12, what was your favorite song?
Oh, it was Aha. Take on Me.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But and it's so funny because you remember that video was a mixture between the comic drawing and the real life.
Yes, yes.
And I go back and forth between the two in that video.
Yeah.
And then I look at eventually going into the broadcast journalism and playing with audio and video, and then ultimately continuing my journey into comic books.
And even now,
using
like with the virtual world, like, the virtual to the reality again.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah. A lot of people that have chosen that song carry a same storyline with the fascination of how the comic to the real switched and transitioned.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's been intriguing. I can't wait to analyze or get someone to analyze the data in terms of what we've uncovered here through the conversations in terms of similarities, but it is really fascinating from my side, listening and seeing and hearing. Whew. All right, my friend, we've arrived at our destination. But before we get off of this time machine, there's a small declaration form. So it's yes or no. We're going to move pretty quickly here. Are you ready, Heather?
Yes.
Heather,
I'm
have you
ready.
chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
Yes.
Are you married?
Yes.
Do you have children?
Yes.
Do you believe in God?
Yes.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
Yes.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
No.
How about 3 hours a week?
Depends.
What about screen time, the phone and the computer? Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
Oh, that's a hard one. I'm going to say Monday through Friday, more than 8. Saturday, Sunday, less than 8.
All right. If you had to share with us your own unique real statement, a statement that represents who you are, Heather C. Dahl, what would you say that is?
Keep going.
Love it. Heather, can I add something, though?
Yes, I love that.
I would say keep digging. Yeah, keep going.
You're absolutely right. That's great.
Heather, this was such a great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
I think keep looking at everything with a new perspective and keep your mind open, because ultimately that's how we're going to keep digging and find what we're looking for.
Love it. Heather Dahl, thank you for being on What is Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
This segment has been brought to you by Amazel Enterprise.